тому... Вот. Наконец-то до него дошло выпрыгнуть из этой машины. Какая нафиг сейчас уже машина?
You see these images from Spain, right?
Yeah.
Streets turned into rivers,
Yeah.
cars just like swept away.
Yeah.
And, you just can't help but think about the sheer power
Mm-hmm.
of nature that causes all of this.
Right.
So today we're going to dive deep into these devastating floods in Spain.
Yeah.
We're going to go beyond just the headlines.
Absolutely.
We're going to understand what happened,
Right.
why it matters.
Yeah. And what's so interesting is that we're not just talking about one event.
Right.
This DNA storm system slammed Spain with 2 rounds of intense flooding,
Wow.
just days apart, hitting different areas of the country.
Okay.
And DANA stands for Depression Aislada en Niveles Altos,
Okay.
which roughly translates to an isolated depression at high levels of the atmosphere.
Okay.
It's essentially a weather phenomenon that can bring massive amounts of rain
Right.
in a really short period of time.
So first Valencia gets hit,
Yeah,
and then while they're still reeling from that,
right.
a second wave slams further north. Altea got hit really hard.
They did.
They got 28 liters of rain per square meter
Oh, wow.
in just 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
That's like
All right.
emptying a small bathtub onto each square meter of the town
It's unbelievable.
in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
It's hard to even imagine how you prepare for that.
It's almost impossible.
Right.
Yeah, the reports describe people trapped in cars.
Oh, gosh.
Water rising so fast they barely had time to react.
Wow.
It just really paints a terrifying picture of the power of flash flooding,
Yeah.
especially in urban areas where the water has nowhere to go.
It makes you think about Altea specifically.
Yeah.
And you wonder if there was something about its location that made this so much worse.
Right.
Was it just bad luck? Or was this like the perfect storm of weather and geography?
Right. Well, that's a question scientists will be looking into for sure.
Yeah.
Without getting too speculative.
Right.
If you pour a bucket of water on a flat surface, it's just going to spread out. But if you pour it into a funnel,
Yeah.
all that water is going to be channeled into a concentrated stream.
Right.
So certain geographical features like steep slopes or narrow valleys can act like that funnel,
Wow.
intensifying the effects of heavy rainfall.
So Altea, with this unbelievable amount of rain in a flash.
Yeah.
And then we have Valencia, where the flooding a week earlier
Right.
led to widespread devastation
Yes.
and a really heartbreaking loss of life.
It is.
217 confirmed deaths.
Yeah.
The town of Paiporta seems to have been hit really hard.
It was.
One of the things that really struck me was that image
Yeah.
of King Felipe and Queen Letizia
Right.
visiting to offer condolences.
Yeah.
And they were met with people throwing mud at them.
I know.
That's just a
Fair.
very powerful image.
It's a very powerful image.
It makes you think about what these people are going through.
Yeah.
It's a community grappling with unimaginable grief,
Right.
but also anger.
Right.
They've lost loved ones, homes, livelihoods.
Yeah.
And perhaps they're looking at their leaders and thinking, where were you
Right.
when we needed you?
Yeah. One of the sources quoted a Valencian parliament member, Juan Bordera, saying, "Authorities didn't listen to warnings. People's anger is justified."
hace nada. Y el presidente del gobierno un perro. La gente aquí muriéndose.
No te falta nada. Nada.
It's a strong statement.
It is a very strong statement.
It makes you think about the preparedness and the response.
Absolutely.
Could the government have anticipated how bad this was going to be?
Right. Could they have been more prepared?
Right. Were warnings heeded?
Yeah.
Could lives have been saved?
It's a huge question.
These are questions that demand answers.
Absolutely.
And these questions are going to be debated for a very long time.
For sure.
And, it's not like the government didn't do anything.
Right.
They did deploy 10,000 troops.
Wow.
Police.
Yeah.
And civil guard to help.
That's a lot.
It's a huge number, right?
Yeah, it is. It's actually the largest peacetime deployment in Spain's history. But, size doesn't always guarantee effectiveness.
Right.
Sometimes it's the speed and coordination of the initial response that truly makes a difference.
Yeah. A massive deployment might show commitment.
Right.
But it also kind of begs the question.
Yeah.
Was it too little too late?
Right. Was it too little too late? And some critics think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the immediate impact of the floods.
Right.
The human costs. The anger towards the government.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a bigger piece to all of this, right?
Well, you're right.
This wasn't just like a random act of nature.
There's a larger context that we can't ignore. These floods in Spain are like a warning sign telling us that climate change is not some far-off threat.
Right.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's happening now.
One of the sources quoted a meteorologist who said that the Mediterranean is becoming a breeding ground for intense storms.
Oh, wow.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
It makes you think of something ominous brewing.
Yeah. And that's not just a clever phrase. There's real science behind that.
Okay.
Like, think of a pot of water simmering on a stove.
Yeah.
As it heats up, more and more steam rises.
Right.
Same thing is happening to the Mediterranean.
Okay.
As the sea gets warmer,
Yeah.
more water evaporates, putting more moisture into the air.
Right.
And what happens when all that moisture collides with a storm system like DNA?
Yeah.
You get these supercharged storms capable of dumping incredible amounts of rain in a very short amount of time.
So it's this vicious cycle.
It is.
Warmer temperatures create the conditions
Right.
for even more intense storms, which then cause more devastation,
Yeah.
which feeds back into the cycle.
Exact.
So these floods in Spain are a wake-up call,
Yes.
not just for the region,
Right.
but for the entire world.
A whole world.
This isn't just about Spain,
right.
because about all of us.
We're all connected.
Right.
What happens in one part of the world can affect everyone.
And it's not over yet.
It's not.
AMIT, Spain's meteorological agency,
Right.
has already issued an orange alert
Oh, wow.
for Castellón,
Yeah.
meaning more extreme weather could be on its way. So what does all of this mean?
Yeah.
What are the implications for Spain, Europe,
Right.
for all of us, really?
I think that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we prepared for a future
Mm-hmm.
where these kinds of extreme weather events become the new normal?
Because if we're not,
Yeah.
the consequences are going to be severe.
They are.
We need to be asking ourselves some tough questions.
Yeah. What does preparedness even look like in the face of this changing climate?
It's easy to get lost in the big picture.
Yeah.
Talking about climate science and infrastructure and politics. But we can't forget
Yeah.
that at the center of all this are people.
Yeah.
Real people.
Real communities.
Communities trying to figure out how to deal with all this.
Absolutely. Madre del amor hermoso. Dios.
Ay, mi coche, que se va, que se va, que se va.
These floods have really shown us not just the physical vulnerabilities, but the emotional ones as well.
Yeah, the grief of losing loved ones.
Your anger.
The anger at what could have been prevented.
The fear of the future.
Yeah.
These wounds run deep.
They do?
And they don't heal easily.
The sources talk about this long road to recovery.
Yeah.
And it's not just about rebuilding homes and businesses.
Right. It's about so much more.
Yeah, rebuilding trust. A sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
A belief that things can actually get better.
Right. How do you even begin to mend a community that's been shattered like this?
One of the things that I noticed in the research was this idea of invisible trauma.
Yeah.
You know, we tend to focus on the physical damage.
Immediate needs.
Yeah.
Right.
But the psychological impacts
Yeah.
can linger.
For years.
Years.
Decades even.
Wow. So PTSD, anxiety, depression. These are all things that can become chronic problems.
Right. They can.
For individuals and for entire communities.
Absolutely.
How do you even begin to address that?
Well, it starts by just acknowledging it.
Right.
Creating safe spaces for people to share their experiences, their fears, their grief.
Yeah.
Without judgment.
Just being heard, I imagine, can be very healing.
Incredibly healing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about talking.
Right. You're right.
There's a need for mental health services.
Yes. Counseling therapy. Especially in places where those resources might not have been available before.
And it's not just about individuals, right?
No, it's about the whole community.
Yeah, building community resilience.
Yes. Fostering that sense of interconnectedness.
When people feel supported by those around them,
yeah,
they're better able to cope
absolutely
with trauma and adversity.
It's about belonging.
Right.
A shared purpose.
It's about that feeling of we're in this together.
It's excellent.
You know that image of the king and queen visiting Paiporta?
Right.
It just really sticks with me.
Yeah.
Maybe their intentions were good, but they were seen as symbols of a system that failed them.
That had failed them.
It's just this really powerful reminder
that
leadership during these times of crisis requires more than just resources or condolences.
It requires empathy. Understanding what people are going through.
Yeah.
A willingness to listen. To learn.
And to act.
In a way that actually supports their needs.
Right.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the takeaway for our listeners today? We've covered the impact, the challenges, the need to be prepared, the need for resilience, both physical and emotional.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to process.
If I had to sum it up, I'd say these floods in Spain are a reminder that we live in a world that's increasingly vulnerable
to the effects of climate change.
We can't prevent every disaster.
We can't.
But we can take steps to prepare.
Yes, we can adapt.
To adapt and to build a more resilient future.
Absolutely, for ourselves and for future generations.
That is a powerful message.
It is.
And a very sobering one.
Yeah.
But I want to leave our listeners with a sense of hope.
Yeah.
Because amidst all this devastation, we see these incredible acts of courage, compassion,
and resilience.
The human spirit is strong.
It is.
And we have the power to overcome these challenges.
We do. And remember, this is just the beginning
of
understanding this disaster.
Right.
What questions do you have?
Yeah.
What will you do?
What will you do?
The conversation continues.
It does.
And we hope you'll join us.
Thanks for listening, everybody else.